Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to share the exact 10-minute routine inspired by Dr. Joe Dispenza that completely changed my life. The same practice that helped me shift my energy, attract new opportunities, and finally feel aligned with the reality I wanted to create. If you've ever felt stuck, no matter how hard you've tried to manifest, this routine might be the key you've been missing. I'll walk you through every step of how I apply it daily, and by the end, you'll understand why this method works so powerfully. And if you want to go even deeper, I'll also tell you about one book that transformed everything for me, Dr. Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural. It's an incredible guide that reveals the science behind manifestation and how to reprogram your mind and body for a new reality. You'll find the link to the book in the first pinned comment, so make sure to check it out after watching. Now, let's dive into the 10-minute routine that changed my entire life. I remember the first time I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza say that your personality creates your personal reality. I didn't fully understand it at first. It sounded deep but distant, like one of those phrases you read online and think, yeah, that's powerful, and then scroll past. But the truth behind that statement hit me only when I realized that my life had become a reflection of my repetitive thoughts, emotions, and reactions. For years, I kept saying I wanted change, a new beginning, new opportunities, a more abundant life. Yet every day, I woke up feeling the same frustration, repeating the same patterns, thinking the same negative thoughts about myself and the world. I was stuck in a cycle without even realizing it. My outer world was just mirroring my inner state. Then one night, as I listened to one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's talks before bed, something clicked. He said, "You can't create a new reality from the same level of consciousness that created your current one." That line stayed with me. It made me realize that the version of me who wanted change was the same version keeping me trapped. That's when I decided to commit just 10 minutes a day to retraining my mind and energy. It didn't sound like much, 10 minutes. But those 10 minutes became sacred, a window into a different version of myself. And in time, they reshaped my entire life. So here's how it started. Every morning, before touching my phone or thinking about the day ahead, I sat quietly. I placed one hand on my heart and the other on my stomach. I closed my eyes and took 3 slow, deep breaths. The kind that make your body soften, your shoulders drop, your mind slow down. I reminded myself, I'm not my past. I'm creating my future right now. At first, my mind fought back. Thoughts rushed in. Things I needed to do, worries about the day, random memories. It felt almost impossible to quiet the noise. But Dr. Joe always said, the moment you become aware you're lost in thought, you're no longer the program. So instead of getting frustrated, I simply observed. I reminded myself, that's the old me. And then I returned to my breath. Those first few sessions felt uncomfortable. 10 minutes seemed endless. But over time, I started to notice something subtle, a calmness between my thoughts. A space I had never felt before. That space was where change began. It was like stepping out of the storm and finding stillness. Then I added the next step, emotion. Dr. Joe teaches that the feeling is the secret. You can't just think your way into a new reality. You have to feel it. So during those 10 minutes, I began to imagine the version of myself already living the life I desired. Not as a distant fantasy, but as if it was happening right now. I imagined myself waking up feeling grateful, confident, peaceful. I imagined abundance flowing easily into my life, opportunities, love, joy, and I allowed myself to feel the emotion of already having it. Sometimes tears would come to my eyes, not out of sadness, but because for the first time, I was emotionally connecting to the future instead of reliving the past. And that's when everything started to shift. Within a few weeks, my mornings felt lighter. I noticed I wasn't reacting the same way to small things that used to bother me. My energy felt different, more open, more grounded. People began to comment that I seemed happier or more peaceful. But it wasn't happiness that came from something external. It was an internal alignment. Dr. Joe calls this breaking the habit of being yourself. And that's exactly what was happening. Every time I chose to think and feel differently, I was no longer feeding the same old emotional programs that had been running my life for years. There's one moment I'll never forget. It was a regular Tuesday morning. I was doing my 10-minute practice, feeling gratitude for my new reality, when suddenly a thought flashed through my mind. It's already happening. And for the first time, I didn't doubt it. I felt it with every cell of my body. That was the morning I understood what Dr. Joe meant when he said, when you change your energy, you change your life. And that's what I want to show you in this video. How this short routine can shift your energy so deeply that your outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your new vibration. But before we go deeper into the steps, let's talk about something crucial: why it works. Because understanding the science behind this process will make your practice infinitely more powerful. According to Dr. Dispenza, when you spend time every day elevating your emotional state, moving from fear or frustration to gratitude, love, or joy, your brain begins to reorganize itself. Neural pathways that were wired around your old identity start to fade, while new ones form that reflect your future self. This isn't just a feel-good exercise. It's neuroplasticity in action, the literal rewiring of your brain. Your body, which has been conditioned to live in the emotions of the past, begins to learn a new chemical state. You start teaching your body how to feel the future before it happens. And that's the secret. Because when your body believes it's already living that reality, the universe responds accordingly. That's how manifestation actually works, not through constant effort or obsession, but through alignment. You become the vibration of what you desire. And it all starts with 10 minutes. 10 minutes that can become the most transformative part of your day, just like they did for me. Now, let's break down the routine itself, the 10-minute daily practice that changed everything for me. It's simple, but not always easy. The power lies in consistency and in your willingness to truly become the new version of yourself, even before anything outside you changes. The first step is presence. Dr. Joe always says, you can't create a new future while holding on to the emotions of the past. So the routine begins with disconnecting from everything external, your phone, your to-do list, even your identity. I would sit down, close my eyes, and tell myself, right now, there's nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Just be here. In those moments, I imagined myself stepping out of my old story, the one filled with fear, self-doubt, or lack, and into a field of infinite possibilities. It wasn't about escaping reality. It was about expanding beyond it. Then came breathwork, the bridge between mind and body. Dr. Joe teaches that breath moves energy. When you breathe consciously, deeply, you start to pull your awareness out of survival emotions like stress or frustration and into elevated states like love and gratitude. So I would inhale slowly through my nose, drawing the breath from the base of my spine up to the top of my head, and then exhale gently. With every breath, I imagined pulling my energy out of the past, out of old memories, old identities, and bringing it into the present moment. Sometimes I visualized light rising through my body, clearing the blocks that kept me anchored in my old self. And slowly I could feel it. My body would relax, my thoughts would quiet. I was no longer reacting to life. I was creating from stillness. The next part was elevating emotion. This is where transformation truly begins. Dr. Joe says, gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. So during this part, I focused entirely on feeling gratitude, even if nothing had changed yet. At first, it felt forced. I'd sit there thinking, what do I even have to be grateful for? But with practice, that changed. Gratitude became easier, almost automatic. I started to notice beauty in the smallest things: the sunlight through my window, the quiet moments before the world woke up, even the strength it took to keep showing up for myself. And here's what's amazing. When you genuinely feel gratitude, your brain and heart begin to synchronize. Scientists call this coherence. Your heart sends signals to your brain that everything is safe, that you're already abundant, and suddenly your body stops living in stress. In that moment, you're no longer waiting for your future to come to you. You're embodying it now. Once I reached that state of deep gratitude, I moved into visualization. But not just any visualization. This wasn't about daydreaming or fantasizing. It was about embodying my future. I'd ask myself, who do I want to become? Then, I'd picture that version of me, confident, healthy, successful, at peace. I would see her moving through her day with ease, speaking with love, attracting opportunities. But most importantly, I would feel like her. That's the key. You have to teach your body what the future feels like before it happens. Because when your brain and body begin to believe it's already real, your subconscious starts working to make it true. Sometimes I would even smile or laugh during this part because it felt so real, like my future self was already alive inside me. Dr. Joe calls this process installing new circuits. Every time you repeat this emotional experience, your brain fires in new patterns. You're literally building the neural architecture of your new reality. And it doesn't stop there. As you continue this practice, your body starts releasing chemicals that match the elevated emotions you're generating. You're no longer addicted to stress or lack. You're addicted to your future. That's when the magic happens. You start noticing coincidences, or as Dr. Joe calls them, synchronicities. A message from someone you haven't heard from in years, a new opportunity, a sudden idea that leads to something bigger. You realize that life is responding to your energy in real time. And every time that happens, you begin to trust the process more deeply. You stop chasing and you start allowing. But here's something crucial. Those 10 minutes aren't about escaping reality. They're about reprogramming your internal state so that when you step back into the world, you bring a new energy with you. Because that's where the real test happens, not in meditation, but in how you live after it. I started noticing that my reactions during the day were changing. Instead of immediately responding with frustration or doubt, I would pause. I'd remember how I felt during my 10-minute routine, and I'd ask myself, how would my future self respond right now? And that single question changed everything. Because in that moment, I wasn't acting from my old identity, I was aligning with the new one. And little by little, that version of me became my default state. After practicing this 10-minute routine every single morning, something inside me began to shift, subtly at first, then unmistakably. The most surprising part wasn't what happened around me, but what happened within me. You see, I used to wake up feeling anxious, scrolling through my phone, thinking about what could go wrong, reacting before the day even began. My energy was scattered before sunrise, but after committing to this routine, my mornings became sacred. Instead of reaching for my phone, I reached for my breath. I would sit quietly, eyes closed, and enter that space I had trained my body to recognize, the state of calm coherence. Within minutes, my mind would settle, my heartbeat would slow, and I could feel my energy field expanding. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you change your internal state before you start your day, you stop living by cause and effect and begin living by causing an effect. And that's exactly what started happening. That simple 10-minute practice wasn't just meditation, it was reprogramming. Each morning, it was like tuning the instrument of my body back to the right frequency. The more I practiced, the faster I could drop into that state of alignment. Here's what my 10-minute routine looks like now. Simple, powerful, and deeply transformative. Minute 1, arrival. I close my eyes, take one deep breath, and remind myself I'm no longer my past. This single thought sets the tone. It's a conscious decision to step out of the old identity that used to run my life. Minute 2, detachment. I mentally let go of my to-do list, my phone, my responsibilities, everything that keeps me stuck in doing. As I release them, I feel lighter, as if the noise in my head begins to fade away. Minutes 3 to 4, breathwork. Slow, intentional breathing through the nose, visualizing the breath as energy moving up the spine and into the heart. I imagine pulling light through every cell, awakening the energy centers of my body. This is when my awareness moves beyond thought into pure presence. Minute 5, gratitude. Now I shift from thinking to feeling. I bring to mind one thing I'm grateful for. Not a big moment, but something simple and real. The warmth of my coffee, the sound of rain, the fact that I'm breathing. As the feeling of gratitude expands, I place my hand over my heart and let that emotion grow stronger. I can almost feel my body remembering that life is safe, that abundance is already here. Minutes 6 to 8, visualization. I picture my future self, not as someone far away, but as someone already alive inside me. I see her waking up in the home she loves, doing meaningful work, surrounded by people who inspire her. I feel what she feels: peace, purpose, freedom. And here's the secret. I let those feelings take over my entire body until they feel more real than my current reality. Dr. Joe says, the moment you start feeling like your future has already happened, you're rewiring your brain and signaling new genes in new ways. That's what this moment is about, teaching my body what the future feels like until it becomes second nature. Minute 9, trust. This is where I surrender. No more controlling or asking how. Instead, I whisper, I trust the process. I imagine releasing my desires into the quantum field like seeds into fertile soil. My only job is to keep watering them with belief and gratitude. Minute 10, integration. I take one final deep breath and open my eyes slowly. I don't rush. I sit in the energy I just created, the peace, the gratitude, the knowing, and I carry that into my day. That's it, 10 minutes. But those 10 minutes have the power to change everything. Because the truth is, you don't need hours to transform your life. You just need consistency and emotion. The willingness to show up for yourself every day. I started noticing results almost immediately. The first shift was internal. I stopped waking up with anxiety. My mind felt clear, calm, focused. Then, slowly, external changes began to appear. Unexpected opportunities, people showing up at the right moment, ideas that seemed to come out of nowhere. Dr. Joe calls these feedbacks from the field, the universe responding to your new frequency. And that's exactly what it felt like. The more I practiced, the more I saw proof that my energy was creating my reality. But here's what most people miss. The goal isn't to make something happen. It's to become the kind of person to whom those things naturally happen. When you commit to this routine, you're not just visualizing a better life. You're becoming the version of you who already lives it. I realized that every time I sat in meditation and chose gratitude over fear, peace over control, love over lack, I was training my body to live in the future instead of the past. And over time, my outer world began to rearrange itself to match my inner world. New connections appeared, new ideas flowed, synchronicities multiplied. Life started to feel less like effort and more like flow. The truth is, when I first tried this 10-minute routine, I didn't think it would change much. I thought it was just another meditation, another quick fix. But I couldn't have been more wrong. The very first week, something inside me shifted. My mornings no longer began with anxiety or noise. They began with intention. I stopped reacting to the world and started creating my day before it even began. Every time I practiced, I could feel my energy becoming lighter, my thoughts clearer. I wasn't living on autopilot anymore. I was finally present. And that's when real magic started to happen. The things I had been chasing for years, opportunities, ideas, even people, started to flow effortlessly into my life. I remember one morning in particular. I sat in silence, eyes closed, heart open, and I truly felt gratitude for the life I hadn't even created yet. It was like I could already sense it was real. And just a few weeks later, the opportunities I visualized began showing up one after another. That's when I realized it wasn't about the routine itself. It was about who I was becoming through it. When you give yourself just 10 minutes each morning to disconnect from the old self and connect with your future, something profound happens. Your brain and heart start to align. You stop living from your memories and start living from your imagination. You stop waiting for a miracle because you become the miracle. And that's what Dr. Joe teaches in all his work: how to step beyond your analytical mind and into the quantum field of possibility. It's not about wishing or hoping, it's about training your body to feel the emotions of your future before it even arrives. That's how you attract it, because your energy finally matches your intention. If you're ready to take this transformation even deeper, to understand exactly how to reprogram your mind and body for a new reality, I can't recommend Dr. Joe Dispenza'S book, Becoming Supernatural, enough. It's the foundation of everything I've shared with you in this video, and the guide that completely changed how I see myself and my potential. In it, you'll learn not only the science behind these methods, but also real stories of people who have healed, manifested, and transformed their lives using this same approach. It's a roadmap to becoming the highest version of yourself, one that's not limited by the past, but expanded by the future you choose to create. So, if you felt something shift while watching this video, if you're ready to go beyond inspiration and actually experience the power of change, the link to Becoming Supernatural is right below in the description and also pinned in the first comment. Trust me, it's more than just a book. It's the next step in your evolution. Before you go, take a moment right now to close your eyes and breathe. Imagine the version of you who has already mastered this 10-minute routine. The version who wakes up every morning full of clarity, purpose, and peace. Feel what that person feels. Smile like it's already done. Because it is. That's the secret Dr. Joe wants you to remember. The moment you believe it, you begin to create it. If this video inspired you, make sure to like it, share it with someone who needs this message today, and subscribe for more teachings and tools that will help you unlock your highest energy and manifest the life you truly deserve. And tomorrow morning, when you wake up, don't just start your day, create it.